It's always cool for Boss Logic to do some very cool stuff in terms of artwork and making a huge name out of himself. So after the release of Spider-Man Far From Home, as well as the post-credit stinger, in which is somewhat of an indicator on where the series will be heading next, many people do believe that the next villain for the third film will in fact be Kraven the Hunter. Which does make a ton of sense given what they've set up after the events of Far From Home, given that Peter Parker's identity has been exposed to the world. And despite the fact that Kraven the Hunter is supposed to have his own standalone film within the Sony shared universe, it does appear that Marvel Studios are brainstorming a ton of ideas on how to implement Kraven the Hunter into the MCU. And given that this is very early stages, it is unclear on what's going to happen with Kraven the Hunter and where he's going to appear first. Now this next piece of information comes courtesy of Boss Logic himself, as just recently he has been somewhat working with Marvel in terms of promotional material, and he did mention that there have been some rumours surrounding Kraven the Hunter and what Marvel Studios have plans for him in store. Now like what Boss Logic said himself, take this with a huge grain of salt, but there has been some rumours in that Kraven's new origin in the MCU is going to be tied heavily with Wakanda, and that he originated from a tribe that no longer exists due to them being exiled from the royal family on the table. And he also attached a picture featuring Mustafa Shakir as Kraven the Hunter. Now I'm willing to predict that most Kraven fans are going to be pissed off by this change if this is to be true and that Marvel Studios are going ahead with this idea for Kraven the Hunter, but if you ask me personally, I am perfectly okay with this change if they are to go down that route. And I say this as someone who has never been the biggest fan of the character and is very much accepting of a new incarnation of Kraven. It's very much clear in that Marvel Studios themselves want to include Kraven the Hunter down the road, and even Ryan Coogler wanted to use Kraven initially for the first Black Panther movie. And so it would make perfect sense if they decide to introduce Kraven the Hunter for Spider-Man 3 and have this whole Wakandan backstory, and also implementing Black Panther into the sequel as well, having the two heroes facing off against Kraven the Hunter, which would make perfect sense and would pretty much be the best of both worlds. Because unless Sony is willing to have Kraven be a villain for the Black Panther sequel, this might actually be the best shot for Black Panther to fight off against Kraven. So how do you personally feel about the idea of Kraven the Hunter being a Wakandan in the MCU? Would you be perfectly okay with this change, or would you much rather have him being closer to the original source material? Comment below and share some thoughts. And as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Take care and have a good one.